Hey, sweet faces, welcome to this week's skill, which is comparing decimals. You'll see for our first one, we are here to put these in order from least to greatest. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my square and I'm going to put an L on the left for least and a G on the right for greatest to set myself up for success. Now we have options. We can compare them side to side or we can write them up and down. Whichever way is best for you. I prefer them up and down because it helps me see all of my place values on top of each other. I'm also going to take a moment to fill in any empty spaces with zeros. And now I'm going to start by looking at our ones value. So I have a 5, a 4, a 5, and a 4. Right there, the smallest of those two are going to be the 4. So I'm going to go to the second value, 4, 1, and 4, 6. 4.1 is going to be my smallest. 4.63 would be second place. Going to my fives then, I have a 5, 4. There we go, 5, 4, and a 5, 9. 5.4 is smaller than 5.96. Because their middle values were different, we didn't have to go all the way out, but if we look at it, least to greatest, 4 and 1/10, 4 and 63 hundredths, 5 and 41 hundredths, 5 and 96 hundredths. Over to our next one again, doing least and greatest, writing them top to bottom, but it is up to you on what your preference is. I just think it's easier to read this way. All of our ones places are a 0, so we have to go over to our tenths place, 7, 8, 2, and 9. I actually don't have to go any further than that because I know that a 2 is the smallest, followed by a 7, then my 8, and then my 9. 24 hundredths is smaller than 76 hundredths, then 82 hundredths, then 98 hundredths. Coming down here, doing my least to greatest, writing my values. With this one, I'm going to fill in an empty space with a 0 because I notice that there's nothing in this last value, our hundredths place. Looking at my ones, they're all the same. I'm going to come over to tenths where they're all different. So I can start here, 7 and 27 hundredths, followed by 7 and 56 hundredths, 7 and 78 hundredths, 7 and 8 tenths. Next one, least to greatest. Write them out. Fill in my empty spaces with zeros. And start with my ones. They're the same, moving next door, 3, 5, 2, 6. I can put these in order. 2 tenths, 39 hundredths, 5 tenths, 65 hundredths. Next one, we have 6 and 89 hundredths. We have 8 and 7 tenths. We have 8 and 52 hundredths. Place saving zeros. Right there and right there, starting with our ones place, 8, 6, 8, 8. So I can do my first one, right? I could do my first one. That's okay. Because 6 has nothing to be compared to. But then I need to go to my tenths place for my remaining 3. Then I can jump in and put them in order. So I have 8 and 52 hundredths, 8 and 7 tenths, 8 and 9 tenths. One more, least to greatest. Put them in order. This one doesn't need any placeholders. Tenths are all the same, moving over. I'm sorry, ones are all the same, moving over to the tenths. 8, 6, 5, 7, I can work with that. Smallest out of those numbers is the 5, then the 6, then the 7, and the 8. 57 hundredths, 63 hundredths, 74 hundredths, 85 hundredths. Any questions on page 1? Bring them with you to class. All right, my loves, looking at page 2, you'll see this time we are putting them in order from greatest to least. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to put my G and my L. I'm going to write out my numbers top to bottom. Again, this is my personal preference. It is not the only way. We know that's the cool thing about math is we have options. Ones place are all the same. Moving over to the tenths, I have a 7, 3, 9, 9. I can do my 3. I can do my 7. But I have to go a little bit further with my 9s. I have 9, 0. And I have 9, 2. Now I know that 9 tenths is smaller. Whoa, I am writing these backwards. 1 minute. Let's try this again. 92 hundredths is greater than 9 tenths, is greater than 77 hundredths, is greater than 3 tenths. There we go. Now we're in order greatest to least. We did have to go out to the last place value, the hundredths place with the 9s, because they match. Remember, if they don't match, you don't have to go out further than that. But if they do, you have to keep going until you are either at a place value where you see a difference, where you can say which one is smaller and which one is bigger, or until you've run out of place values and you've decided that they're equal, because that is possible. Sometimes they're equal. Ones place, all the same. Tenths place, 2, 7, 5, 4. The greatest is the 7. And then the 5. And then the 4. And then the 2. 6 and 7 tenths, 6 and 55 hundredths, 6 and 42 hundredths, 6 and 28 hundredths. Write them out. Add my greatest to least reminders and our 0 place savers. Now we're ready. Ones places match. Going to my tenths, I have a 3, 2, 2, 4. Well, I can decide the two largest. I have 49 hundredths and I have 35 hundredths, but then I need to go further out on my 2 tenths. I have 2 and 0 hundredths, so 20 hundredths, or I have 24 hundredths. 24 hundredths is going to be bigger than 20 hundredths. Over here, greatest, least, put them in order, place saving zeros, and dive in. 7, 4, 7, 4. I have to go further on all of these. 1, 1, 3, 1. Gonna have to go further on the 4s, but I can make some decisions on my 7s. So I have 7.3 and 7.1. 7 and 37 hundredths is bigger than 7 and 13 hundredths. I can do that. But then I need to go a little bit further. I have 10 and 12. 4 and 12 hundredths is larger than 4 and 1 tenth. 2 more on these. I'm going to do my greatest to least. Write them down. Fill in my empty place saver with a 0 to make sure all of my matches match up. We have zeros. Moving on to tenths, 7, 9, 4, 8. I can make decisions on all of those numbers. The biggest is 94 hundredths, then 8 tenths, 71 hundredths, and 41 hundredths. Last one over here, greatest to least. Write them down. Fill in my empty spaces with zeros and dive in. 2, 2, 3, 3. I need to go further. 8, 6, and 9, 3. I can make decisions on all of them from there. So biggest, 3 and 99 hundredths, 3 and 31 hundredths, 2 and 82 hundredths, 2 and 6 tenths. That's the end of page 2. Any questions, please bring them with you to class. This time we are filling in our comparison symbol, our greater than, less than, or equal to. Remember that the open mouth should always be facing the larger number. We're still going to look, though, one place at a time. So we have a 2 and a 2. They're the same. We need to go further. I have a 4 and a 2. 4 is greater than 2, which means $2.41 is greater than $2.23. Over here, I have a 3 and a 3 going out, 9 and a 5. 9 is greater than 5, so $3.97 is greater than $3.57. I have an 8 and an 8. Going out further, a 9 and a 0. 9 is greater, which means $8.98 is greater than $8.01. Over here, 4, 4, 3, 5. 5 is greater, which means that 456 is greater. We would read this as $4.39 is less than $4.56. 9, 9. 6, 2. 6 is greater, so $9.66 is greater than $2 or $9.20. Over here, 1, 1, 4, 8. 8 is greater, so $1.42 is less than $1.84. Our mouth is facing the 8. Any questions on this page? Bring them with you to class. All right, Nuggets, we are on to page 4, where you are given a picture and asked to compare. Remember that each of these sticks is 10. I'd love to see you writing down your decimals first. So we have 10, 20, 30, 3 versus 10 and 9, 19. 33 is greater, 33 hundredths is greater than 19 hundredths. Over here, I have 10, 20, 30. I have 1, 2, 3. But with my place saving 0, I see that they end up both being 30 hundredths. These are equal. 3 tenths and 30 hundredths are the same. Down here, I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 1 hundredths. And I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 86 hundredths. 86 hundredths is greater than 41 hundredths. Over here, I have 10 and 4 is 14. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tenths with my space saving 0 is the same as 60 hundredths, which is absolutely greater than 14 hundredths. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75 hundredths compared to 10, 20, 30, 40, 55 hundredths. Whoop. My brain was stuck on the other one. 55 hundredths. 75 hundredths is greater than 55 hundredths. 10, 20, 30, 4 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tenths with our place saving 0, 80 hundredths. And we see that 80 hundredths is greater than 34 hundredths. Questions on this one? Please bring them with you to class. Last one is some word problems. When we're doing word problems, we're asking ourselves, what are they asking me to do and what numbers are they giving me to use? Terry collected eggs from her chicken coop and weighed them. She got 1.58 ounces, 1.43 ounces, 1.86 ounces, and 1.18 ounces. Place the weight in order from greatest to least. So I want greatest to least. And I have 1 and 58 hundredths, 1 and 43 hundredths, 1 and 86 hundredths, and 1 and 18 hundredths. Starting with my ones, they all match. Going over to my tenths, there's my difference. So greatest is going to be 1 and 86 hundredths, and then 1 and 58 hundredths, 1 and 43 hundredths, and 1 and 18 hundredths. Julie has $1.45 and Mary has $1.09. Who has more? So we're comparing $1.45 to $1.09. They both have the same dollar value, but their tenths place is different. $1.45 is greater than $1.09. Amanda is taking measurements to build a table. She measured 6 and 6 hundredths, or 6.06 feet, 6.92 feet, 6.79 feet, and 6.34 feet. Put these in order from least to greatest. So we have 6.06, 6.92, 6.79 and 6.34. Looking at the ones placed first, they're a match. Going out to the tenths, there's our difference. Our smallest is going to be 6 and 6/100ths, then 6 and 34/100ths, then 6 and 79/100ths, and 6 and 92/100ths. Deanna and Casey are wanting to buy a stuffed animal that costs $4.62. Deanna has $4.13 and Cassie has $4.73. Who is able to buy the stuffed animal? So they need $4.62, but they have $4.73 and $4.13. In order to buy it, they have to have more. So we're comparing it to $4.62. So we have a 4, a 4, and a 4. They're the same. We have a 6, a 7, and a 1. The 7 is going to be greater, which means that this person, Cassie, has enough to buy the stuffed animal. James ran 2.22 miles Monday, 2.92 Tuesday, and 2.2 miles Wednesday. Place the distances in order from greatest to least. So we have 2.22, 2.92, 2.2 with a place saving 0. Looking at the ones value, 222, moving on. 292, moving on one more time. 2220. Now I can make some decisions. The biggest, the greatest, is 2.92, followed by 2.22, and then 2.20. Last question. Kyle wants to buy a toy car for $5.56. He gave the cashier $5.37. Did he have enough? So he needed $5.56. He gave him $5.37. We need the amount he gave to be greater in order for it to be enough to pay. So we have 5 and 5, they're the same. We have 5 and 3, they're different. The value he needed to pay, which is greater, which means no, he did not have enough. Any questions on these, kiddos? Bring them with you to class. Have a good weekend.